Yes, sir.
How many have you tried?
Tried, sir.
Tried.
Tried, sir. Tried, sir.
So didn't you get any errors?
Yes, sir. Got sir.
Okay, you got some errors. Okay. Were you able to debug those errors and get the output?
So some I was able to sir,
Uh,
but for some it was not coming on the
okay,
portal.
okay, right. Some were able to debug. Okay, right. Okay, what about others, girls?
Yes, sir. Sir, tried, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
right.
Tried, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. If you practice more, then you will be mean like you will first you will reduce. I mean, number of errors will be reduced, right? And syntax will be practiced with as you write more programs. Syntax will be mean you will you will get perfect with the syntax. Then obviously next you can attempt for some different problems to solve using the programs. So that's the way of practicing programming. Okay, I think you'll try it today again after this class, and you'll come with a good output. Okay, right. We'll start the today's class. Today again. So in last class we discussed about what is function, what are the advantages of using functions, then how to write functions in Python, and then how to pass parameters to the functions, and even we have seen writing return values. Okay, how to return values from the function. So that all is studied in last class. So today we will be seeing more on functions only. Again some important points we'll discuss with today's session, right? Okay, let me share the screen. Yeah. So is my screen visible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now continuation of this function. So one of the important point are the data type. You must remember with the functions, that is the none value. So capital letter N followed by ONE, none is the value. It is called as an absence of value. It represents the absence of value. Mean, so when to use this? So this belongs to a data type called as none type. So as we have int type, as we have float type, string type, this none value belongs to none type. It is similar to boolean value. It is something similar to boolean value, like true and false. We have one more keyword that is called as none, which is basically represents the empty data which basically represents empty data. So when we require this one, when we require this kind of none value, so this basically used in function which doesn't return any value, so let us understand that with the help of function here. Okay, see for example, if I write x equals to len, this is length, function called as length, finding the length of a string. See for example, if I type welcome and the parameter, then it will find the length of the value, string. So that is stored in x. So that means now x has got 7. So that is some integer value. Likewise, when I take x equals to input of something, so then whatever the data you read, that data will be stored in x and will be of type string type. Mean function is going to return here, length function is returning some value, input function is returning some value, right? And it is stored in, the return value is stored in some variable, right? Likewise, we have different functions which may or may not result the value. One of such example which doesn't return any value, that we already used, that is print function, right? Look into this one now. If I type y equals to print of, okay, welcome, right? So then what it is going to do, the parameter that we are passing will be displayed on the screen, and then it is not going to return any value. So that's why if you print the value of y, then you will come to know here. Look at this one now, none. Here length function was returning an integer value and that was stored in x. Input function is reading some data and that is stored in x, and it is again of some data type. But when I execute function called as print, it is going to display the data on the screen, but it is not going to return any value. So that's why in y we have called as none. That's nothing but empty, right? So similarly, in our user defined functions also we can use this none. So how? So we'll see that one with the example program now, right? So we'll define one function. For example, I'll write name of the function as just a function, right? It is not going to take any inputs, right? Just I'll write I'll write print welcome, right? Welcome. Then just I'll write a empty return statement. Empty return statement that is usually used to indicate the end of the function. It's to end the execution of the function and then continue with the further part of the program. So now I'll call the function, right? Right. Now what I'll do, just if I execute this part, look here. Now we'll get the output as welcome. Okay. So take a sample. None. Now we got output welcome. So but now what I'll do, I'll take some variable, for example y, and I'll be storing the return value of the function in y. So if I write this one, right, then to know the value what is available in y, you can use the function called as print y. So now again you see here, since the function has no return value, so the y contains none. So any function which is not having a return value or empty return statement like this one, this is called as empty return statement, return with no value, return with the no value. In such case, the variable mean the receiver will get the none. Did you understand this one? Hello all. Yes, what is
Yes,
none?
sir.
What is none? What is none?
Yes, sir.
What is none?
Represents the absence of non-value.
Absence of value.
Non-value.
When there is no value, then it is usually indicated with a or represented with a none. When there is no return value from the function, in that case you can use the none, right? See, this is again just we can call it as value with no like for example empty value. It's called as empty value, right? That's one point you need to know in the functions. Then second thing, second point that you must know in functions is using the keyword arguments. So and what are the keyword arguments available with the print function, that we'll see. So what are keyword arguments? Basically keyword arguments are used to represent the optional parameters. What does it mean here? Okay, so let us understand with an example here, right? So now you take your def, I'll define a function here, for example maximum x comma y, right? Then just I'll write here return just a simple function and take print of x comma y. So just to show, right, I'm using a simple function, that is maximum of x comma y. Two parameters are there. It is going to print the values of x and y, right? Now if I want to call this function, I must pass two parameters, since I must pass two arguments. Since it is having two parameters in the function definition, I must pass two arguments. So when I do this, it works fine. Okay, the function without any error, it will execute the code. But look at here now, if I just pass only one parameter, now what will happen? Sorry, if I pass only one argument, so that these are called as arguments, 10, 20, they are called as arguments. If I pass only one argument, but it is expecting two arguments, but I am passing only one argument. Now what will happen? Will it show error message or not?
Error, sir.
100% it will show error message. One argument is missing.
Yes,
See here, maximum missing one required positional argument, that is y. For x we got the value, but for y we didn't send the value, so it is showing error message. Likewise if I pass extra like 30, if I expecting 2 but I am passing 3, so in that case also you get the error message, right? So maximum takes 2 positional arguments but 3 were given, so that's the error message. See, that case, like see, if I want to use this one with only one argument, okay, with only one argument, if I call this function, then it has to work, but now it is showing error message. Mean the second should be absence of arguments. Absence of arguments should be considered as optional arguments and it has to work. with the optional arguments. So such optional arguments are called as keyword arguments. Did you get the definition? What are keyword arguments?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you'll see here. Now look at here. I'll change the definition now. I'll change the definition. Maximum x comma y equals to, just I'll write a equal to single quote, just empty space. Right, just I'll take a empty, right? Then I'll print the values of x comma y. Right, now my definition is over. Right, now here what I can call, x is an positional parameter, but y is a optional parameter. When you initialize, when you assign some value in the parameters, okay, when you assign some value to parameter, then that parameter is called as a optional parameter. It's called as optional parameter. Mean, while calling this function, you may or may not, you can give value for y. Even if you don't give value also, it will work, right? So if I call this function now with the 10 comma 20, so then it will work with the 10 20. X will take 10, y will take 20. That means this empty will be overwritten with the 20. But if I call the same function with single argument, now look at here. Earlier it was showing error message. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So this way, if we write the function definition and if we call the function with only one argument, then it was showing error message because there was a missing argument. But when I write the definition in this way, mean with the optional parameter, that is called as keyword argument. This is called as keyword argument. Right? So if you use the keyword argument in the function definition, then for that parameter, you may or may not give value. It will work. If you give the value, it will take the given value. If you don't give the value, then by default, whatever the value you assign with the assignment operator, that will be taken. That's why you look at here, after 10, there is nothing. That means there is just empty, right? So even if I check with the x, right?
So can all parameters be optional parameters?
Yeah, definitely you can make it. You can make it optional parameter, right? Simple. You just take the same definition, okay? Make it both optional, okay? Right. So here I'll take a x equals to single quote, right? Now print of x comma y, right? Print of x comma y. Then now call the function maximum with empty parenthesis. That's fine, no results because both are having empty values. Then if I call with single parameter, then it works with x equals to 10, y is empty. Then if I call with two parameters, then also it works fine with x as 10 and y as 20. Did you get this one now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So like this. Now with the print function. So more about this one, more about user defined functions, using optional parameters with user defined functions. You will study in second module with the list and dictionary of the Python. So we'll see more on this optional parameter. There we have a more advantage of using optional parameter with the list and dictionaries, right? So but now here we'll see these keyword arguments with the print function. Basically there are two keyword arguments for print function. One is called as end, another one is called as SEP, right? So what is end there? To specify what should be printed at the end of its arguments. We'll see with the example, you'll see, so that you can understand better, right? Right. Now we'll take here, now I'll write here print hello, right? We'll take a program so that you can understand this one, right? All right. I'll write statements like print hello, followed by next line I'll write print world, okay? Now if I run this code, what will be the output? What will be the output if I run this code? Yes? Hello all. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, what is the output from this program now? What is the output?
Hello.
Yes?
Hello world.
Both will be displayed in a single line or will be displayed in separate line?
Single line, sir.
Separate line.
Hello, hello will be displayed in one line, world will be displayed in another line. Correct?
Another line.
Right. So look at here now. So mean by default print function will add the new line at the end of a output. Correct?
Yes, sir.
By default
Yes,
print
sir.
function
Yes,
will
sir.
add new line at the end of output. So mean after hello it is adding a new line, and again after word it is again adding new line. So now what I can do here, see, look at here, what I do now, I use the end keyword argument. So this indicates what is the character or what is to be printed at the end of output. So now I'll take a one space in the end optional argument. So when I use this one, now what happens, you see, the output will come in only one line, hello followed by a space, because end argument is representing, there is a space here. So mean between the output it has to add a space. Instead of new line it has to add a space. So that's why now look at here, you are getting now hello space world. Are you getting my point? So this end optional argument is indicating what is the character or what is the data to be used for separating the outputs. Okay, now if I use comma here, now you see here hello comma world. So that end optional argument is specifying what is to be printed at the end of output. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Likewise, there is another optional argument or keyword argument with the print function. So look at here now. For example, I'll take cat, dog, then what? Okay, lion, right? So some, right? Now if I execute this line, what will be the output? We have three strings separated by comma. So what will be the output here? If I execute this print function, what will be the output? Yes? All of you are there or not?
Cat, dog, lion.
Saida answering.
Yes, sir.
What about others? What is the output? What is the output from this one now? What is the output from this one?
Cat, dog, lion.
Cat, dog, lion.
Cat, dog, lion.
Cat,
Separated by?
Cat, dog, lion.
Yes, separated by what?
Co-
Separated by
Comma,
space.
sorry.
Separated
Comma,
by-
sir. Separated by
Comma,
comma.
sir.
Sorry?
Comma, sir.
Separated
Comma.
by comma.
Comma, sir.
No.
So comma will not be displayed, sir.
Space, sir.
Space, sir.
Separated by space. Mean always
Separated by space, sir.
always by default when you have a comma separated strings in the print function, listen to my words, when you have a comma separated strings or any data in the print function, they are displayed with the space as a separator. But if you want a separator as you wish, okay, then you can use another keyword argument. That is called as SCP. SCP stands for separator. So mean what is the character to be used to separate the display? Okay, to display the comma separated data. See, you can take here now, right? For example, I'll write a front slash. Now look at here. If I run this one, now these three data will be displayed separating with the front slash. Cat, front slash, dog, front slash, lion. See, usually date is displayed in this format, right? Date slash month slash year, right? In that case you can use this one, or you can use a comma. So then if you use comma, then again, so comma will come in between the strings. Likewise, if you use the colon, then so the colon will come in between the strings. Did you get this one now?
Yes, sir.
But
sir.
usually we don't use these end arguments, mean keyword arguments. They are called, that's why they are called as optional arguments, optional parameters. They are called as optional parameters. But if you wish to have these optional parameters, then you can go with either end or SCP. These two are called as keyword arguments of print function. End is used to specify what to be printed at the end of its arguments. Similarly, SCP, right? So both are used to specify the data to be used for the displaying, separating the output, right? Then, so these examples are already taken, right? Now we come to one more important point. So this you must understand when you are dealing with programs, and as your program length increases, then the complexity of the program definitely will increase. In that case, there you may get errors, you may get unexpected result only because of the scope problem. Because of the scope problem, I mean the local scope and global scope, right? What exactly this scope? What exactly scope? Right? Scope is just nothing but it is a container for variables. What exactly it is container for variables? Yes, we'll see with the examples later. I'll show you. Right? So basically, scope is classified as one is local scope and another one is a global scope. So variables which are declared or which are used, which exist in the local scope are called as local variables, and which exist in the global scope are called as global variables. Right? So basically we have two types of variables then, local variables and global variables. Local variables exist in local scope, global variables exist in global scope. What exactly the difference between local scope variables and global scope variables? We'll see with the several examples, right? Then, right, okay, we'll start with here, right? So what is global scope? Okay, what is global scope? A global scope is created when your program starts, right? So here now, here my program is beginning. So this is the program. So here is the start of my program. From the first line my program begins. So if I write x equals to 10, yes, now this x is called as a global variable because it is because global scope starts at the start of the program, and global scope ends when the program terminates. Okay, global scope starts when the program starts. Okay,
So your voice is breaking, sir.
My voice is breaking. Yes, now.
Yes, sir, it's audible, sir.
Okay. Now try to understand here local scope and global scope. Basically, global scope starts when your program begins and ends when the program terminates. So that means the global variables will exist in the entire program. Global variables exist in the entire program. You can use anywhere in the program. Global variables can be used anywhere in the program. But what about local scope then? Yes, local scope starts when the function begins. When the function begins its execution. Okay, local scope starts when the function is called and starts its execution, and when the function terminates, then the local scope will end. Okay, so local scope exists only within the function. Local scope exists only within the function, but global scope exists in the entire program. Did you get the difference between local scope and global scope? Global scope starts with the start of the program and ends with the termination of the program. But local scope starts with the start of the function execution and ends with the end of the function execution. So that's the difference between local scope and global scope. So then if we use any variables in the function, I'm telling you, if you use any variables or parameters, if you use any variables or parameters in the function, then they are called as local variables because they exist only within the function. If you use any variables or parameters in the function, then they are called as local variables because they exist only in the local scope of that function. They exist only within the local scope of that function. That's why they are called as local variables. But when you use any variables outside the function, then they are called as global variables because those variables exist in the global scope. Variables which exist in the outside the function, they are called as global variables because they exist in the entire program. Right? Now these are the points you must remember with the global and local scope. So for each of these points I'll take one example and I'll explain. Right? So what is the first one you see here now? code in the global scope cannot use local variables. That mean, yeah, in the global scope you cannot use local variables. But however, what you can do in the local scope, you can access global variables. Getting my point? Global scope can't access the local variables, but local scope can access the global variables, because global variables exist in the entire program. That's why the local scope will have access to global variables, right? But now if you have two different local scopes, I mean if you have two different functions, okay, each function will have its own local scope, then what about the variables of one scope in another scope? Can we use? No, it's not possible. If we have variables in one function, they can be used only in that function. So that's why, so code in a functions of local scope cannot use variables of another local scope. Okay, variables of one local scope cannot be used in another local scope. Then you can, but fourth point you see here, you can use the same name for different variables if they are in different scopes. That mean, for example, in the global scope I may have a variable called as xyz. In the local scope also you can use a variable called as xyz. One exists in global scope, another exists in local scope, but they have same name xyz. That's allowed. There won't be any conflict with the names of the variables. They can use same name, but only thing, the confusion may be there in the considering the value of the variable, right? So we'll take here one by one now. First one now. Okay, did you get these points first?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, can somebody tell me what is local scope? What is local scope? Before I continue with the examples, to clarify what is local scope and what is global scope, can you just tell me what is local scope?
We can call function.
The variable can exist, sir.
Okay. Parameters of function belongs to local scope or global scope?
Local.
Variables that exist in function are local variables or global variables?
Local
Variables. Local, sir.
If a variable is declared outside of function, if a variable is used outside of a function, then it belongs to global scope or local scope?
Global scopes.
Sorry?
Global, sir.
If a variable exists outside of the function, outside of any function, then it belongs to local scope or global scope?
Global.
Global scope, sir.
Global scope.
Global scopes.
Yes. When the global scope destroys? When the global scope destroys?
After the program terminates.
After termination,
The program. Right. When the local scope destroys?
End of function terminates.
When function ends. When function ends, then local scope will terminate. Okay, will destroy. See, if a scope is destroyed, will the variable still exist? When the scope ends, still can we have access to the variables of that scope?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
No. Okay.
No, sir.
No. Right. So mean when either it may be a global scope or it may be a local scope, when the scope ends, then all the variables, parameters or whatever is used in the scope will be destroyed. Right? If it is a local scope, then the variables and parameters of that function will be destroyed. So we can't have access to those variables outside the function. Right? Similarly, when the program ends, then we can't have access to the data of the global variables, because they will be destroyed. Once the scope ends, all the variables will be destroyed. Right? Now we'll see one by one here. The first one you see here now. Local variables cannot be used in the global scope. Okay, local variables, because local variables does exist in the function, but so those variables we can't access in the global scope. See, for example, we take a program, this one. Okay, right. So yeah, take a copy of this one. Right, I've already shown you error message on the screen also. Okay, Now create a new file. Now look into this one now. What I have here? There is a function definition called as scope. Okay, name of the function is scope. Then there is a variable called as xyz with the value 31,337 and then empty return statement. Now you tell me whether this xyz is a local variable or is a global variable.
Local.
Local, sir.
Why it is called as local?
Declared inside the function.
It is inside the function, right? Then any other answer? Why it is called as a local variable? xyz is called as a local variable. Others?
Function.
Yes, it is used within the function. It exists within the function. When a variable exists within the function, then it is called as a local variable, right? But now you see here, I am calling the function called as scope, right? Then when I call this function, it goes to this function definition and declares this variable, that is xyz equals to 31,337. Then after that, what I am doing, you see here, I am executing print statement of xyz. Now what will happen here? Will it show the error message or will it print the value of xyz here? Yes. Now with this print statement, what happens? Whether it gives error message or will it show the value of xyz?
Sir, none, because we have written no, sir.
No problem. Return is used to end the function. Return is used to end the function, right? Come out of the function, right? And then when I execute this print statement with xyz, will it show the error message or will it display the value of xyz?
Error, sir.
Why
Error,
error?
sir.
Why error?
It is outside the function, sir. The print statement.
See, try to understand that only this xyz is a local variable, right? A local variable. But when I execute this return statement, what happens here? This function will end, right? This function will end. Mean the scope of this function will destroy, right? The definition, when this return statement is executed, then immediately the scope of this function, that is local scope of this function, will be destroyed. That means there won't be access to the variable xyz. There won't be access to this xyz variable. But what we are doing here, we are trying to access this xyz in the global scope. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So since we are trying to access this xyz in the global scope, but it is belongs to local scope, right? So you will get a error message for this one, because as the function ends, when the function ends, the local scope of that function will be destroyed, right? Sample scope. Okay, we'll take a 7. Right. Now you see here what it is showing error message. Name xyz is not defined. Why it is showing name xyz is not defined? Because so this xyz has no existence in the global scope, right? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
This xyz they was there in the function, but when you come out of the function, that xyz will not be there, will not be available, because when the function ends, the scope of that function will be destroyed. That's why you can't access local variables in the global scope. So that is what I shown in the PPT here. Local variables cannot be used in the global scope. So look at here, the same error what we got here now. So name xyz is not defined, right? Then now look at here now. What I'll do is I'll take here, for example, xyz equals to 20, right? Now if I run this code, what happens you see here? Yes, what I got now? Yes.
20, sir.
Now why I got 20 now? Why I got 20? Why I got 20?
Already declared.
This
It's
xyz
already
is outside the
declared, sir.
function. xyz, this xyz is outside the function, correct? Outside the function.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, if it is outside the
Yes,
function,
sir.
then what type of variable it is? Local or global?
Global.
Global variable.
Global, sir.
So here this print function will access to global variable. This print function will access to global variable and will print the value of global variable, that is 20. Did you get this one now?
Yes, sir.
Right. Then now,
Yes, sir.
Right, now try to understand here. Now print xyz. If I write this line here, what will be the output, you tell me? What will be the output of the entire program? What will be the output of this entire program? Yes guys, what is the output?
20, sir.
Only 20. Look into the code.
31337.
31337.
Yes. And 20.
Only 31337.
Both will be discrete.
Both will be
What is the order of
Whether
display?
it will
What is the order of
20
display?
and 31.
20
First
and
20 and then
31337
first
or
first 31337,
First
sir.
31337.
Then 20.
20. Correct? Huh?
Yes, sir.
See, first this function will be called because this definition will be called by this one scope function. So it comes to this definition, xyz will be initialized to 31337, which is local variable of the function. Then print function will execute the xyz and will print the value of xyz, that is 31,337. After that function ends, so that means this xyz will be destroyed, right? After that we have one more print statement with a xyz. So now this xyz will be taken from global variable. So that's why 20 will come on the screen. That's why 31,337 followed by 20 will be displayed. Look at. Did you get this one now?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
Yes, sir.
what we did
Yes,
here,
sir.
for global variable, for local variable, we use the same name, right? Same name. So but there won't be any conflict. So this is what I discussed with the fourth point here. You see here, fourth point. What is the fourth point here? You can use the same name for different variables if they are in the different scopes. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
XYZ is in the global scope. This XYZ is in the global scope. This XYZ is in the local scope. But both are having the same name. But both are different variables. Both are different variables. Right? Then one more point you see here now. If I write here global XYZ, if I write global XYZ, now what will be the output, you tell me? Yes, what will be the output now?
20, sir.
20.
20.
How many times 20 will come out?
20,
20.
2 times.
Yeah. Right. See, run this code and check out the output. Now look at here. What is the output? Yes, 31,337. 31,337. So both the outputs now it's showing what? 31,337. Then where 20 was gone? Yes? Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Try to understand now. Try to understand here. See, look at here. This is global variable, right? This is global variable, right? So if you want to use the same global variable within the function, if you want to use the same global variable to modify in the function, then you can use the global statement here. You can use the global statement. So that means now global xyz, if you write this global xyz, then this variable will be considered as a global variable. Instead of a local variable, this xyz will be considered as a global variable, and whose value will be changed to 31,337. That means now 20 will be overwritten with a 31,337. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Initially had a global variable. Then in the function, what I am doing, I am not creating a new xyz. Try to understand my words. In the function, I am not trying to create a new xyz variable. What I am trying to do, I am accessing the global variable in the function. I am accessing global variable in the function. That's why to access the global variable in the function, I must use a statement called as global with the name of the variable. So global statement is to be used with the name of the variable. Then only one variable, that is xyz, which exists in the global scope. So that same variable is now changed to 31,337 in the function. Then this print statement will print 31,337. Then when it comes to this XYZ, this print statement, what is the new value of XYZ? 31,337, because I didn't create a new variable in the function. Listen to my words. I didn't create new variable in the function. I changed global variable. I changed the value of the global variable. I modified the value of the global variable. That's why in the function it has displayed 31,337, and in the global scope again XYZ will be displaying with the value 31,337. So that's why the output is 31,337. 31,337. Did you get this one now? So this is what I discussed with the first one. Now look at here. Right, the second point. Look at here. What is second point? A local scope can access global variable. Yes. What I did here is that point. So local variable has been accessed in the local scope. Did you get this one now? In the local scope, what we did in the local scope, we are accessing global variables. So that is the second point. Did you get this one?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now only point that I need to discuss here is variables of one scope cannot access the variables of another scope, right? But before I go into that point, I'll take some more examples on all these points, right? So now this is clear. Is this clear? Local variables cannot be used in the global scope. Did you get this one?
Yes, sir.
Here XYZ is a local variable. Here XYZ is a local variable that we can't access in the global scope. Right? That's one point. Then second one. Global variables can be read from a local scope. You look into this word here. Read. Right? So global variables can be read from a local scope. Run this code also. Try to understand. Okay. So I already created. So I'll open that file. Sample scope 1. Yeah, so this has already been discussed. Sample scope 2. Right. Now this is the point I want to clear you. Right. Now look at here. So first try to understand this code. This is not the one. Sorry. Okay. So this is the point I want to clear. So here what I am trying to explain with this program is global variables can be read from a local scope. So what I discussed earlier with in the earlier program, same thing with the one more program I will explain now. Right. Now you take here. So we have a function here, that is scope function, with the PQR equals to XYZ. Then print XYZ, print PQR, right? Then we have a variable called as XYZ equals to 42. Then we are calling function called as scope, right? Then we are printing XYZ. First try to understand here. So code will begin execution from here, right? So what is this variable now, XYZ? Is it a global variable or local variable?
Global.
Yes, global. It's a global variable because it's outside the function. It is outside the function, so it's a global variable. Then what's its value? 42.
42.
Right. 42. Then second line of code will be executed. That is scope. This is a function call. So since this is a function call, the control program execution control will be transferred to the definition. Right. It comes to this line. So here in this line, what it does is it will take a PQR equals to XYZ. What is the value of XYZ?
42.
Alright. Now you tell me this XYZ is a local variable or global variable?
Local, sir.
Try to understand. XYZ is a global variable or local variable here?
Global, sir.
It's a global variable.
Global.
So global variable. XYZ is in the global scope. So that we are trying to access in the local scope. The global variable we are trying to access in the local scope. Yes, sir. Now the XYZ value 42 will be assigned to PQR. But what about PQR? PQR is a global variable or local variable?
Local.
Sorry?
Local, sir.
It's a local variable. PQR is a local variable. Right? PQR is a local variable. So because this PQR is a new variable that exists in the local scope, but XYZ is a not a new variable. It's not a new variable which is already existing in the global scope. So when you are reading, so try to understand my words. When you want to read the value of global variable in the local scope, then it is permitted. Try to understand. If you want to read only read operation is permitted. If you want to read the value of a global variable in the local scope, then it is permitted. So here I am just reading the value of XYZ and is storing it in PQR. So it is permitted now. There won't be any error. I'll show you with the modification of this program when it will show the error message and all, right? Then now when I execute this print XYZ, look at here, print XYZ. Yes, again what I'm trying to do here, I'm accessing mean I'm reading the value of XYZ and I'm printing it. Are you getting my point? With this print of XYZ, what I'm doing, I'm reading the value of XYZ and I'm printing. So read permission is permitted. Since read permission is permitted, so value 42 will be displayed on the screen. So it will print 42 on the screen. Then PQR, print of PQR. Since PQR is a local variable of the function, so there won't be any problem. That is also having the value 42. So we'll print 42 on the screen. So this 42 is from global XYZ. This 42 from local PQR. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Then after this function, okay, so after 3 lines of this function, the function will end. Okay, the function definition will end. So it comes to this last line, that is print XYZ. So XYZ value is 42 and there will be access to this XYZ in the global scope. So it will print another 42 from the global XYZ. So now 342 will come on the screen. One from global XYZ in the function, one from local PQR in the function, and then third one from the global XYZ in the global scope. Alright, that's why you'll get 42, 42, 42. Look into the PPT here so that you'll understand. So here, this 42 has come from first print function, that is this one, right? This print function. Then this 42 has come from second print function. Then last 42 has come from the last print function. Did you get this one?
Yes, sir.
That
Yes,
means
sir.
now what we did here, try to understand here, what we did here, we tried to read the value of global variable in the local scope. We tried to only read the value of a global variable, in the function, that means in the local scope. So that time there won't be any error. But now you see here, if I try to do this one now, XYZ equals to XYZ plus 10. If I do this one, now what I'm trying to do here with this line,
Trying to change the value of
yes, we are
global
trying to
variables.
modify. We are trying to modify the value, which is permitted or not permitted.
Not permitted.
Obviously.
Permitted, sir.
Exactly.
Not permitted.
Global variables are permitted to mean the read operation for the global variable is permitted in the local scope. Read operation on the global variables is permitted in the local scope. But here in this statement, we are trying to modify the value of a global variable in the local scope, which is not permitted. So obviously, when you run this code, you'll get a error message for this. Look at here, unbound local error. Look into this one, error, unbound local error, because local variable XYZ referenced before assignment. Mean it is treating this XYZ is a local variable of the local variable of the function scope, but which is not in existence. So that's why it will show the error message. When you try to modify the global variable in the local scope, it will show the error message. So then to make it to work, what we need to do? To make it to work, this statement to work, what to do? in the previous program I already explained that part. If you want to modify a global variable in the local scope, what to do?
Global XYZ.
Use the global statement, global XYZ, right? Now if you do this one, then it will permit you to modify also. If you use this global statement in the local scope, then it will permit you to modify the global variables. Now look at here. Instead of 42, now we got 52 because I modified here. XYZ has been increased to 42 plus 10. So it has been modified to 52. So all three XYZ 52 will be assigned to PQR. Then XYZ will print 52. PQR will print 52. This last XYZ also will print 52. Did you get this one now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, that is what I wanted to explain in the next slide. Look at here. Global variables can be modified in any function with the help of global statement. With the global statement. Did you get this one? Look at here, red line. Read this red line. Read this red line. What is this? If you ever want to modify the value stored in a global variable from a function, you must use a global statement on that variable. Did you get this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So one more program is there here. To do the same thing. Okay, you can execute afterwards. I'll share the PPT. You can do that. Then now come to this one. Next point. That is, local scopes cannot use variables in other local scope. Mean the variables of one local scope cannot be used in another local scope. So for that we have one more example here. We'll take up that example. Yeah. So here is the program. There is a one function called as scope 1, another function called as scope 2, right? I'm just invoking a function called as scope 1. In turn, scope 1 will invoke scope 2, right? So but try to understand here. XYZ equals to 99. This XYZ belongs to which function? Belongs to which function?
Scope 1.
Scope 1. It exists. This XYZ exists only in the scope 1, correct? This XYZ exists only in the scope 1, right? Right. Then it is invoking a function called as scope 2. Yes, this function will start its execution, right? Then here PQR equals to 101. What is this PQR? What is this PQR? Is it a local variable or global variable?
Local
variable of which function? PQR is a local variable in scope 2, correct? Scope 2 function, right? Then similarly, so here XYZ is a local variable in scope 1. XYZ is a local variable in XYZ is a local variable in scope 1. Then here you try to understand now. Now I have written a print statement with PQR. Now since PQR is the local variable of that function, then it prints the value 101, correct? Yes, print of PQR. PQR is a local variable of scope 2. So it will have access to that PQR and it will print 101. But what about this one now? What about this one? Print XYZ. What is XYZ? What is XYZ? Is it a local variable of scope 2? Is it
Sir, your voice is breaking.
XYZ, is it a local variable of scope 2?
Voice is breaking, sir.